Jalen Hurts in this game did not have a gaudy stat line. He did throw a pair of touchdown passes, and the E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles, the Eagles, let their defense do the rest. A surgical 22-10 takedown, a playoff victory over the Green Bay Packers. They've been eliminated now. They are, as Tony Bruno used to say, they're on the clock for the NFL draft, getting ready for the NFL draft. So, Quan Barkley, 119 yards in his first postseason game as a member of the Birds. But the better story is on the side of the Cheeseheads in the losing locker room. So that is where we're going to focus things here, at least at the beginning. And where did things go, as we discussed, where did things go wrong for Jordan Love? Where did things go a little sideways there for Jordan Love? So that would be the moment he got out of bed from his 5-star Philadelphia area hotel. That would be when things went sideways for Jordan Love. Love, who looked so good, granted it was against the Cowboys in the playoffs a year ago, got his first taste of the new playoffs this year, and he needed someone to contact a lifeguard. They needed Baywatch to come in because he was drowning. The Eagles' defense, which is good. Let me say something before I go forward here. Eagles have a good defense. I get that. All right? You're going to hear that a lot over the next couple of days. Eagles have a good defense. Well, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you're truly one of the great quarterbacks in the NFL, you are what's known as matchup proof, meaning it doesn't matter who you go against. It doesn't matter how good the opposition is. If you're that good, if Jordan Love's the real deal, then it doesn't matter whether the Eagles have great defensive numbers or not. You're going to go out there and you're going to produce, and you're going to produce big, and you're going to do well, and you're going to make the smart play. Jordan Love did none of those things, okay? So I don't want to hear about Jordan Love and all the love of Jordan Love and this, that, and the other thing. He went out there. It doesn't matter. It should not matter who the opposition is. And he had a real clunker, and most of the Packer marching and chatter society are like, well, he was hurt, or this, that, and the other. The defense is really good. Stop. That was a goodie bag delivery from Green Bay to Philadelphia. Inside the baggie. What's in the goodie bag? There was not one, not two, but 3 interceptions by Jordan Love. Now, I even give him a pass on the last one because the game was already over. But he had 2 when the game mattered. So 2 interceptions when the game mattered. 1 turnover on downs for the team from Wisconsin. Philly was given a head start here on the opening kickoff. The alleged ace returner for the Green Bay Packers, Keyshawn Nixon, was hit hard, and he had the coughs, like he had COVID, except he coughed up the football. And the Eagles recovered, and they scored. So Green Bay getting the ball first. No, they didn't get the ball first. They turned the ball over. And it did appear that Green Bay had recovered that for some reason. Things that make you go, The NFL, despite having replay assists, which they love to tell you about, even though it was clear that Green Bay recovered, the officials gave the ball to Philadelphia anyway, and they quickly got out and had a touchdown to begin the game, so they were playing from ahead the entire day. Now, page 2. With this win by Philadelphia, right, with this win by the Philadelphia Eagles, we look at the coach. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up or thumbs down on the playoff victory for the Eagles, taking Coach Nick Sirianni off the hot seat. So I'm going to go thumbs down. Thumbs down is where I'm going on this. And the reason I'm going thumbs down, drought-like conditions. Philadelphia's win was devoid of any style points. Is that a fair criticism? I believe it is. Philadelphia's win was devoid of any style points. It was a handout from the team from Wisconsin. The Eagles scored 10 points off turnovers. They were handed 10 points off turnovers. And so Green Bay, without the Green Bay mistakes, Philadelphia scored 2 field goals, a touchdown. They missed the extra point on that touchdown. So that's 12 points that the offense generated despite having Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and stud here, there, and everywhere. And Jalen Hurts, yet again, was a jag. Just a guy out there. He finished with a pedestrian 131 yards passing against the Green Bay Packers. And Philadelphia, on third down, they had 11 third downs and despite having the tushy-pushy, they were 2 of 11, 18% efficiency on third down. Green Bay is a lower-level NFC team. They are not supposed to be in the same category as Philadelphia, and yet they won the stat sheet. The reason the Packers lost the game is because they kept turning the ball over, and that does not bode well going forward. And I know how Philadelphia sports are wired. Nick Sirianni is not out of the woods. And those woods are thick. Right? They are thick wood, big trees, and they're everywhere. And we imagine that the birds here will not be getting 4 turnovers next week when they play the Rams or the Vikings. That will be the matchup, and they will get the benefit of either a soft dome team like Minnesota or a soft West Coast team. Allegedly, the Rams are supposed to be tougher now. We'll see how tough they are in the game on Monday night against the Vikings. But they do play not in a dome. The NFL says that's not a dome. Even though it has a roof on it, SoFi Stadium in L.A., not a dome. But that game tonight will be in Arizona. So that'll be the matchup. All right, final point. So let's go now to the moment of the game that most people were talking about in this Philadelphia-Green Bay game. The game was so dull. It was an interaction that happened after there was a misconnection between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. How do you categorize Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown being spotted by TV cameras reading a book on the sidelines during the game? He was perusing a book. Say what? Yeah. So my answer to that question is worm-like. Worm-like as in a bookworm. And A.J. Brown, a bibliophile I think that's the term, bibliophile. When you're really into books, you're a bibliophile. And this is a guy that does love books. And I will say, based on a minutes-long Maller investigation into this topic, unlike LeBron James, who's phony when it comes to books and movies and things like that. He's a fraud, LeBron. A.J. Brown, no. This checks out. It's kosher. It's absolutely kosher. And how do we know this? He showed the NFL Network a copy of the book. And if you saw the clip, and for those of you that are blind, I'll describe here, the pages of the book are worn down, essentially down to tissue on this book. They're dog-eared, and they're falling out. It's a self-help book that he's reading. We don't need to promote it. It's already getting enough promotion. But the excerpts of the book are highlighted, the copy that he showed, in yellow marker, and the words are even underlined. So, hey, he's reading the book. He wants to read one of those motivational things. I bet you Robert Saleh, the old Jets coach, probably read that book 7 or 8 times. The book's well-loved. And I like the fact that he actually read the book. I'm fine with that. You know, if he's allowed to read a book on the sidelines, so be it. But remember when LeBron, he's been caught multiple times over the years, LeBron, pretending to read books. And it's been hilarious. It's always during the NBA playoffs. I remember famously he'll promote on social media. He's reading these books. And so LeBron, I remember he's asked, like, hey, what's your favorite part of the book? He has no idea. He has no concept, right? And it's the same thing with movies. The book thing was like a Malcolm X book. And he was asked about it, and he was totally gobsmacked when he was asked about this Malcolm X book that he was reading. And then even the movie The Godfather, where he was bragging about watching The Godfather 6 times during the NBA playoffs one year. And so somebody said, hey, what's your favorite quote from The Godfather? And LeBron had no idea. Now, I've only seen The Godfather a few times, and I can tell you plenty of quotes from the movie, at least the big ones, right? The big one, the most famous quote. What is the most famous quote from The Godfather? It's, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse, right? That is it. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. And the scene with the horse head in the bed and all that. I mean, there's some iconic moments. There. His brains are his signature, another one. LeBron could not do any of that. There was none of that. He had no idea how to handle that situation. So anyway, now as far as the post-game flavor, from this game, Matt LaFleur, do you think the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, let's go back to the suck bag performance by Jordan Love, do you think that Mr. LaFleur, the coach of the Green Bay Packers, do you think he's A, going to criticize Jordan Love for sucking at a time you cannot suck, B, blame someone else, or C, none of the above, make an excuse for Jordan Love? Let's go to the audio tape. Here's the Green Bay Packers head coach.
I love Jordan Love and how he competes and the work he puts in, and I think he's going to get better and better and better. And certainly there's some lessons along the way, some tough lessons anytime you end up in defeat. I mean, that's hard to deal with, but he is very critical of himself. He does such a great job of learning from every experience. So I think, through this, I think we'll all be better for it, although it's tough to go through. But I think there's going to be a lot of learning over the course of the next however many months before next year arrives.
Didn't you learn last year when you lost to the 49ers in the playoffs? I guess you didn't learn enough, so you got to be reminded. Why don't you lose every year? Then you'll learn a lot. The Packers should just lose every year in the playoffs, and they'll learn so much. It'll be great. Man, they'll learn everything. They'll be the smartest team in the NFL. They won't win anything, but they're going to learn every year when they lose. Like, the Steelers should be really smart because they've lost 6 straight playoff games over the years. So Mike Tomlin's got to have, like, the smartest team in the NFL because they learn from losing. All right, here's Jordan Love, the man himself, pointing out that he's garbage.
It's tough. I'm definitely, it's the end of the season. You lose playoff game. We've been here before. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun being in that locker room after a game. And, it sucks.
Well, especially considering the Green Bay Packers actually won the stat sheet, right? So if you just hold on to the football possession as 9/10 of victory, you're going to win the game. Look at the Washington football team on Sunday night. They didn't turn the ball over, didn't punt, won the game because they just waited for Baker Mayfield to puke all over himself, and he did by a routine fumble there late in the game in his own territory. All right, here's one more from Jordan Love, the Green Bay quarterback, pointing out that these were self-inflicted wounds.
I think that's really the thing that hurt us in a lot of games is we talk about it, I feel like a lot of the times this season was just feeling like we're not getting beat by the other team. We're kind of beating ourselves. So, whether it's penalties, turnovers, stalled drives, things like that, I think it all comes back down to just the details and execution and a lack of execution in some of those areas. So something that you just gotta be focused when you go out there and try and limit that stuff.
So in other words, it's not a well-coached team because they make a lot of mistakes. They made the same mistakes all year. Pretty much that's Jordan Love calling out Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff that these things cannot be cleaned up, that they've had all year. They've known since the regular season, early in the regular season, this was a problem, and they can't clean it up. So Jordan Love's blaming the head coach and claiming that the Packers are great. They would never lose if they didn't make these mistakes, but they can't coach the players out of the mistakes.